Hello. We want to look at a very, very critical area in the study of crime and security, and this is about intelligence. Where do we get intelligence that players in the security and law enforcement agencies rely on to make decisions? So, intelligence gathering is one of the areas that supports the delivery of an effective law and order systems in any state. And that is why it remains one of the most important areas that concerns any government, concerns any law enforcement agencies. Where do we get intelligence? And what type of intelligence do we gather? So this is what is going to form the basis of the current discussion that we want to have. So I want to invite you to our discussion on the sources and the types of intelligence that is used in crime and security management. Of course, I know intelligence can also be understood in other sectors, such as psychology, or when you talk of human intelligence or thinking. No, here we are looking at a totally different thing. What is intelligence as far as crime and security management is concerned, and where do they source the intelligence, and what kind of intelligence do they source for? So I want to welcome you to this discussion. Let us begin by understanding what is meant by intelligence. What is intelligence? Intelligence can be understood as information that is gathered within or outside a country and which involves threats to a country or a nation, its people, property, interests, development, and any other matter that has a bearing on the national security of a country. National intelligence include information about foreign countries. That intelligence can include information about the capabilities, activities, and intention of foreign countries, and also information about non-state actors. That is, intelligence might also include information about non-state actors such as terrorist groups, among others. It might also include information about potential threats. That is information about potential threats such as cyber attacks, espionage, and military actions by other states. Might also include information about economic and criminal activities, such as information about economic and criminal activity that have national security implications. For instance, what we call underworld economy or the black market economy, trafficking, trade trafficking, drug dealing, among others, or dealing in counterfeit might also affect the interests of a country as far as trade and commerce is concerned. And when you talk about intelligence gathering, we simply mean the process of collecting, analyzing, and evaluating information to understand a subject or situation, most often with the goal of informing decision making. So when you talk about intelligence gathering, we simply means process of collecting. So first, the information is collected. It is then analyzed. It is then evaluated. The analysis and evaluation is done so as to bring out understanding of what the information is and what it portends for the decision makers. Intelligence gathering incorporate a process that consists of 5 interrelated steps. That is information collection, evaluation of information, collation of information, information analysis, and information dissemination. In other words, we collect information, we evaluate that information. Collecting means synthesizing, we analyze it, and then we disseminate. Disseminate means we spread it to various organs for purposes of making certain decisions. Now, there are several sources of intelligence. One of them is called human intelligence. In short, it is written as HUMINT. And this refers to information gathered through direct contact with human sources, such as agents, informants, and informers. As the name suggests, human intelligence is mostly collected by people and is commonly provided via espionage or some other form of covert surveillance. So when you talk about human intelligence, we simply refer to intelligence or information that we get from people. These can be people that government has appointed to work directly with the government or the agency responsible, or sometimes they operate undercover. And as the name suggests, however, there are also overt methods of data collection, such as via interrogation of subjects or simply through interviews. So that when you talk of this type of information, some can be based on direct observation, or others might mean inviting or summoning individuals and then asking them questions for purposes of gaining insight about the issues that the intelligence directorate is interested in. And the manner in which human intelligence operations are conducted is dictated by both official protocol and the nature of the source of information. What kind of information do we want to get? And what are the structures that have been put in place that supports intelligence gathering? So that there are certain information that can be collected directly, or such others might need to be done using underground methods. In Kenya, for instance, collection of evidence is the responsibility of the Directorate of Criminal Investigation and also the National Intelligence Service. But we also have the military intelligence that deals with intelligence gathering beyond the boundaries of Kenya. So when you talk about human intelligence, we are simply meaning sources of intelligence that are human in nature. People, the DCI officers that have been stationed in the field to collect data, the NIS officers that have been stationed in the field to collect data, the military officers that mingle with ordinary citizens, both at home and abroad, for purposes of observing, listening to discussions, and also even asking people questions for purposes of gaining insight into what they intend to understand. So that is what we mean by human intelligence, and it is one of the most important sources of intelligence. Then the other type of intelligence is called imagery intelligence. In short, we call it IMINT. And IMINT intelligence is obtained through the collection and analysis of visual data from a range of sources, such as satellites, reconnaissance aircraft, drones, and ground-based cameras. Imagery intelligence is therefore the process of analyzing visual data to extract intelligence information. Its key features include satellite imagery, which are placed on the space for purposes of trying to see what happens on the ground. Aerial photography. We can also have cameras that are above the ground and which they are designed to take photographs. Then those photographs can then be analyzed. Then we have what we call thermal imaging, These are machines that are meant to visualize what is happening on the ground using thermal technology, then multispectral analysis and geospatial data integration. So it includes several features which are then used to collect data about a given issue, and then such data is analyzed. IMNIT includes satellites. That is, satellites provide continuous intelligence with high resolution sensors. It might also include aerial photography, which can be aircraft, can be used to collect imagery, such as U-2P spy planes with advanced cameras, drones, which are unmanned vehicles such as drones, can be used to collect imagery, and other sensors. Other sensors can be used to collect also imagery. So IMINT involves very high-powered technology, machines that take photographs, that capture information, that capture images of what is happening, and then those images can be analyzed. Therefore, by gaining a highly accurate picture of the current situation, analysts can reasonably predict how circumstances will evolve, which targets should be prioritized, and what issues are likely to occur. So imagery intelligence actually is used to focus on what happens on the ground through the capture of photographs. And those images are therefore analyzed by specialists to detect what's happening on the ground. It could be the movement of military in a given country on the ground, the stockpiling of weapons, illegal activities such as illegal mining, or training of guerrillas or personnel, so that a country is able to know what's happening simply through the use of images. Images are captured using high level technology, and then such technology is then used to uh, 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 by intelligence directorates to gauge and understand exactly what is happening. The other type or the other source of intelligence is called measurement and signature intelligence. In short, it's called MEASINT. And signature is a unique set of characteristics that differentiate one item or event from another. For example, DNA, which has nitrogen-based molecules that is unique to each organism. And measurement intelligence signature is a technical branch of intelligence which serves to detect, track, identify, or describe the distinctive characteristics or what we call signatures of fixed or dynamic target sources. And MEASINT exploits a variety of phenomenologies from a variety of sensors and platforms to support signature development and analysis, to perform technical analysis, and to detect, characterize, or relocate and identify targets and events. These sensors collect data derived from reflected or emitted energy across the optical portion, that is ultraviolet, which is visible near infrared and infrared of the electromagnetic spectrum. It should be noted that, for instance, a lot of countries have a depository of DNA information about persons of interest. For instance, Director of Intelligence can have the DNA information of, say, terrorists, people that they have listed as terrorists, and such information they can store it so that they can use such information to track the movement, of such individuals. Or sometimes they can use information such as phone data or SIM card or phones of particular people, and then using this technology, they are able to track the individuals, to track their movement, and to locate where they are, and even sometimes to spy on what they're doing so that they're able to know exactly what they're doing and where they are. So that kind of technology is what we call measurement and signature intelligence. In short, I want us to understand it in terms of signature simply means certain characteristics that are unique to individuals. It could be your DNA, it could be your external features such as a phone, such as a watch, among others. An intelligence world can capture these things and then have certain data about them so that they can have certain information about your phone so that wherever you are moving, they know that you are moving with your phone and they're able to trace you from one place to another. This is how in Kenya, for instance, youths who have been participating who participated in the June 22 demonstration, some of them have been tracked using their phone numbers, using the kind of phones they have. It is because the phone number is a signature that's a specific to individual. The phone can also be specific to individual. So what these organizations do is they liaise with telecommunication providers. And once they get the actual information, they are now able to trace and track the individuals in terms of their movement. The other important source of intelligence is called geospatial intelligence, which we call GeoInt. And GeoInt is an intelligence discipline comprising the exploitation and analysis of geospatial data and information to describe, assess, and visually depict physical features, both natural and constructed, and geographically referenced activities on the Earth. Geospatial intelligence is also the analysis of geospatial data and imagery to create a visual representation of Earth's physical features and activities. It is used to inform decision making in many sectors, including national security, defense, and even disaster response. Geospatial intelligence data sources include imagery and mapping data collected by commercial satellite, government satellite, aircraft such as unmanned aerial vehicles or reconnaissance aircraft, or by other means. This type of intelligence is used together with imagery intelligence that we discussed earlier. The concern here is that, or the focus here is that they use images about the Earth, and such images they are able to understand what they are and interpret them in terms of what they need. As I noted earlier, intelligence gathering is not just about security or security or crime, but it's about the national interests of the national interest of a country. For instance, they are able to monitor through geospatial science. They're able to monitor the movement of wind, and that one can point to them whether their likelihood of drought, heavy rains, or other things for purpose of planning. Or sometimes the movement of wind, the movement of information about the earth to enable them predict the likelihood of earthquakes, the likelihood of strong winds or what we call typhoons or cyclones for purpose of preparation, the likelihood of floods for purposes of putting alert emergency measures to avert the effects of such disasters. So when we talk about intelligence gathering, it is not merely about security or about or about crime, but simply anything that is likely to undermine the national interest of a country, so that the country's emergency response systems is put on the alert and ready to respond whenever some of these problems occur. The other type of intelligence source is called open source intelligence. And open source intelligence refers to a broad array of information and sources that are generally available including information obtained from the media, professional and academic records, and even public data. And open source intelligence is the responsibility of the entire national intelligence community, or what we call OSINT, is readily available, although the sheer amount of available information can make it difficult to know what is of value. Again, determining the data source and its reliability can also be complicated and might still require review and analysis to be of use to policymakers. Open source is any information. What is written in the newspapers, what is broadcasted in radios, in social media, what people post on social media, such as X, Facebook, TikTok, among others. What is written by academicians, what is written by students, what people say when they're demonstrating, all that is part of open source. What is written in books, all that is open source. Open source in the sense that it is readily available to the public. And some of the sentiments that people make can actually point to an issue. And that's why sometimes people are normally arrested for making utterances that security apparatus deem as offensive and likely to cause disharmony in a country. So open source intelligence, or what we call OSINT, is any information that is available in public and which, upon critical scrutiny, can point to something either not going right or something that requires intervention. Now, what type of intelligence do we gather? Basically, we gather three broad areas of intelligence. One of them is what we call operational intelligence. Operational intelligence, within the context of law enforcement intelligence, is concerned primarily with identifying, targeting, detecting, and intervening in criminal activity. It is more focused on support or denial of intelligence at operational tiers. The operational tier is below the strategic level of leadership and refers to the design of practical manifestation. Intelligence required for planning and conducting campaigns and major operations to accomplish strategic objectives within operational areas. And the term operational intelligence is used within law enforcement to refer to intelligence that supports long-term investigation into multiple or similar targets. In simple terms, when we talk of operational intelligence, we simply mean everyday intelligence, intelligence that we consume on a daily basis. For example, if, say, a certain criminal needs to be arrested, then the law enforcement agencies might want to gather certain information about him or her. Where does he stay? What time does he come home? Where does it? Which social places does he visit more? What kind of drink does he take? Who normally does he work with, or who is more often accompany him to various places? Where does he work? What does he do? Which bank does he bank with? All that information is for operational purposes. The aim is to enhance, or for the intelligence community to have a deepened understanding of who the criminal is, where he stays, which social places he frequents, among other things, for purposes of ensuring that wherever they want to arrest him, then the arrest becomes easier. That's why sometimes people normally hear that multiple raids have been conducted on a given criminal. People went to the places where he visits, his place of work, several offices, and also at his home, perhaps the home based in urban area and the one in rural area concurrently. The purpose of that is that sufficient information had been collected about where he possibly can be. So when you talk of operational intelligence, it is simply a piece of intelligence information which is needed for purposes of planning or for purposes of conducting campaigns and for purposes of laying down structures which can then be used to undertake major intelligence activities. So this is the lowest level of intelligence that occur in any organization or in any state. Then we have what we call tactical intelligence. And tactical intelligence is formally defined as intelligence required for the planning and conduct of tactical operations. And it is focused on support to operations at the tactical level and will be attached to the battle group. Tactical intelligence is that which contributes directly to the success of an immediate law enforcement objective. In other words, what do you want to do? Right? Maybe you want to carry out a raid. Maybe among uh, uh, a group of gangs. So what tactics are you going to employ? How many law enforcement officers do you need to have? What time do you need to strike? What kind of weapons should you have when you are striking it? Where do you strike? From what direction will the strike be more effective? So all that pieces put together is what we call tactical intelligence. So it's about gathering intelligence or getting intelligence information that enables intelligence officers or intelligence operators to plan so that they're able to execute their mandate more effectively. There could be, for example, a group of intelligence officers or police officers that have been assigned to undertake a given raid in a given area, right? So intelligence officers will gather information that would support that particular group in their mission. The group might not actually be the one that is collecting intelligence. Intelligence can be collected by the intelligence officers. Then this group is fed by such information so that the people collecting intelligence information would then know how best to package that information and how best to deliver it or disseminate it to the team that has been assigned the responsibility, say, of conducting a raid somewhere. So when you talk about tactical intelligence, it's simply intelligence that has been collected to support a given operation that has been put in place to ensure that that particular operation is successful. The other type of intelligence is called strategic intelligence. Strategic intelligence is defined as intelligence required for the formation of policy and security plans at national and international level. That is, what are our national and international interests? So when you talk of strategic intelligence, it is intelligence that is collected for purposes of long-term plans. For example, how do you want to deal with terrorists in the long term? How do you want to deal with criminal gangs in the country in the long term? What are the structures that we need to put in place to eliminate or to significantly reduce gang violence, reduce trade in narcotics, reduce trade in contraband goods, reduce child trafficking? What are the long term? What cooperation can we have with border nations, with our neighboring countries? What can we do about where these products are sourced? And what can we do about the market where such products are sold? So when you talk of strategic intelligence, we mean intelligence for purposes of long-term development of the intelligence directorate and capacity of a country to respond to bigger threats. And it is concerned with broad issues such as economics, political assessments, security and military capabilities, and intentions of foreign nations. It is also termed as the highest form of the end product of the intelligence process, and it's a blend of facts and analysis to produce an informed judgment on major aspects of a law enforcement agency's objectives. Strategic intelligence differs from tactical in that it deals with the larger issues with which the top decision makers of the intelligence agency are concerned. So it is the most prominent form of intelligence, and it is one whose success has the potential of ensuring stability, ensuring significant reinforcement of a country's military capability, and also ensuring how countries relate with their neighbors and other foreign countries. So that is the type of intelligence that is at the highest level. It is the most important because it is from there now that other forms of intelligence activities operate. It is done at the highest level possible. Up to that point, I want to thank all of you for listening, and I want to request you to note down any issue that you feel you need more time to understand. Thank you so much.